Hey, how's it going, Ali?
Hi, hi.
Good, good, good. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Looks
Uh,
lonely.
yeah, go ahead.
You look like lonely.
Well, actually, no. I'm just there's a little bit less light here in my room today compared to the
Mhm.
other days. Probably gonna have to go out tomorrow and get some lights or something like that. But I was just reading some newspapers and doing some stuff like that. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Yourself?
Nice. Yeah, I'm doing well, thanks. Good to see you again. How was your day? I mean, or how was your today? It's just morning right now, right? In
And
Australia?
now it is uh, 35 past 1 p.m.
1:35 p.m. Uh-huh. So, how did you how did you pass your morning?
Sleeping. I was asleep until 12:35.
Uh-huh.
12:30. I have got my son to the child care center and
Hmm.
came back home.
Oh, fantastic. So, 1 hour, just 1 hour ago, you woke up, you got some work done, and now you're ready for class.
Yeah.
Great, great, awesome. We're probably just gonna wait another maybe 4 or so minutes, Ali. So, how long have you lived in Australia?
I have been here for nearly 1 year. A year.
Nearly 1 year, nearly a year. That's awesome. And are you a student? Do you like the experience?
Actually, I am accompanying my wife. My wife is a student here in
Uh-huh.
Australia. So I am doing nothing, just staying at home.
That's good though. I
And
mean, I'm sure you're taking care of your son. I'm sure you're being a good
yeah,
dad. Yeah.
yeah, but it is a boring thing, believe me.
Yeah, I guess if he goes to the daycare, then most of the day I mean, you can, you're doing good things. You're studying uh English, you're studying, I'm sure you're doing some other things. That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, I've never visited Australia. I've just heard different things about the country. Lots
what is
of
stereotypes about Australia you have?
I've heard, for example, that it's a huge country. There are not that many people, so it's a small population,
Yeah,
and you
just
know,
maybe if you know Saudi Arabia, they maybe the same population as Saudi Arabia.
yeah,
Compared
15 million, something like that. I heard 15 to 20 million.
Yeah, compared to the huge size of the continent of Australia.
Yeah, yeah, huge size, lots of resources, lots of money.
Yeah,
So it's an interesting. It's a
wealth country, and the economy of Australia considered as conservative. Uh, so uh, no many uh, financial loss or financial damage here as
yeah,
compared to USA. People here,
absolutely.
from my observation, people here like they don't have many problems,
Uh-huh.
financial issues. Seems like they enjoying their life.
Yeah, no, that's good. I
No,
like
no,
the idea.
no many homeless you don't see homeless here. You don't see people like needing money. They all seem to be fine.
Yeah, good. A lot of programs for people so that social programs, social welfare is important in Australia. And also, I heard doctors and dentists, for example, in Australia make a lot of money
Mm.
because small population. I heard that there is government control over, for example, how many doctors each year, how many dentists each year. So as a result, they can control
Yeah,
the level of people that are in a job. Yeah.
yeah, people who are qualified for the job, the availability is good, but as you have just mentioned, the government take control over this. They concern the quality, you know. So they don't assign the job to just anyone, just who are
Hmm.
qualified. highly qualified.
Just those are highly qualified, yeah. You have that, I mean, it's an immigrant country, so you have so many people from different places, and it's such a wealthy country relative to the population that they attract a lot of immigrants, people from Lebanon, people from many other parts of the world have. I heard Lebanon.
Yeah,
There are a lot of
especially,
Lebanese.
yeah, Chinese people. They plenty of Chinese people here,
Hmm.
Indian and Lebanese, as you mentioned. But Lebanese, they have a strong impact on the economy. They are focusing on the just uh, I mean, I'm not sure how to say that, but uh, they are the dominant part in the economy.
Hmm. Yeah, Lebanese people here too in the United States, they have done a lot of, they have a lot of businesses. They have a lot of businesses. They have a lot of restaurants. A lot of kind of they are good. They have a lot of active people in markets and business and kind of the financial sector. In the United States, for example, the most Arab city in the United States is a city called Dearborn, Michigan. I used to live in Michigan, and so I lived very close to Dearborn. So Dearborn is the most Arab place outside of the Arab world, actually. Um, many people, Lebanon, Iraq,
And,
Palestine, Saudi
and
Arabia.
are they there as a citizen or just immigrants?
Well, yeah, they're all citizens now. They have been coming to the U.S. since 1970, 1960, late 1960s, early 1970s. So their children are completely, 100% Americanized. They have a huge, masajid, and I mean, the biggest masjid in the entire country is in Dearborn, Michigan.
Mhm.
So a huge population, and yeah, they're very strong business people. So they have a big impact on the economy. Before, Michigan was known actually for a lot of car factories, a lot of auto factories. So in the late 60s and early 70s, a lot of the Lebanese, a lot of the Syrians, they came to Dearborn to work in those auto factories, and they never left. They stayed, they built their community, and yeah, now they're the largest Muslim community in the United States and one of the largest. I think they are the largest Arab community outside of the Arab world. So
Mm.
yeah,
It
yeah,
sounds interesting to visit.
it's a great place. I've been there. They have a lot of great food, a lot of Lebanese food, but they have a lot of great, Middle Eastern food. So it's a
What
nice
what
place.
what about the cost of living there? Is it
Cost of living is
expensive?
Michigan is a cheap state, Ali. It's a cheap state, honestly. It's not as expensive as New York or as expensive as California. If you have a normal job, maybe if you earn 75 to $100,000 a year, you can live very, very comfortably in Dearborn in that area. Michigan,
If I
Michigan,
earn how many? If I how much?
between 75 and $100,000 a year.
Alright.
I, I think that is
Average.
pretty accurate. Pretty accurate. Yeah, it's a high middle class society. Yeah, it's
Do
not a
you
bad town.
recommend? Because I'm planning of going there to the USA, but uh, I have no idea what is the best place of in terms of the cost of living and in terms of the society and how people look like there, how they treat Muslim people, if you know of them. I think
Sure.
I'm afraid of just of discrimination and
There's honestly there's not that much discrimination. I mean, people are generally they don't care if you're a Muslim, if you're whatever religion. People don't really care. If you are in a larger city, of course there are good and bad everywhere, right? It depends where you are. It depends what kind of community, right? Every major city in the U.S. has a Muslim community. Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, Houston, Dallas, Michigan, Dearborn, Detroit. Many, many, many cities, many, many different Muslim populations. I would say Cost of living, the Midwest is probably the cheapest place. So when we say the Midwest, we mean, for example, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nebraska, uh, Illinois, Iowa. These states are in the middle of the country. They're farming states. They are very agricultural, but also there's nothing to do in these states, right? Michigan, I would say, is a really good state because it also depends on what your job is, right? Because Michigan has a lot of like engineering jobs, a lot of now especially they have a lot of real estate. If you can invest in buildings and construction, those kinds of things, Michigan is a good place. Yeah.
Just looking for the for completing my study, looking for fun or making money. Just
Uh-huh.
uh, is there any universities in those places?
Yeah, Michigan has some great schools. So to start with, University of Michigan, Michigan State University, uh, Wayne State University. These are the three that I would look at. University of Michigan is one of the best universities in the United States. Uh,
Mhm.
I mean, Michigan State is also very good, and Wayne State is more local. It's more local to Michigan, but it's a very good school. It's a very good school. My dad went to Wayne State actually,
I
so
would consider.
yeah, and I worked at University of Michigan, so I've seen a lot of these different places. Yeah,
You worked as a teacher or
I worked as a software kind of developer, software manager at University of
yeah.
Michigan. Yeah, yeah.
So,
So it was really fun. It was a
the
great university. Yeah.
software engineering should be familiar to you.
It is, yeah. I do more of the design. I don't do as much of the engineering stuff, and I'm still more. It's more management. It's really more management. But yeah, great
Yeah,
schools. There's a lot
actually,
of
actually,
opportunity.
actually, I have not only I have an interest. I just I'm kind of specialist in this field. Actually, I'm graduated from computer science,
Uh-huh.
and I have done my master degree of computer science. So maybe we have something in common here
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
in
I
terms of.
my I actually didn't do a master's. I just did a bachelor's, and I did.
I mean, in terms
Yeah.
of knowledge.
In terms of knowledge, yeah, maybe there's some overlap, but yeah, I'm definitely not super experienced in the as experienced I think as you are because I have not received a master's. So,
Yeah, but if you have an experience, I think it is rather important than the just studying because I have just studied, but uh, in reality, I think there is difference between what you study and what you have to implement in the reality. So I think what and the knowledge that you have is maybe uh, uh, wider than that I have.
yeah, it's very true. A lot of times people who are studying different fields, for example, they study something in their for their bachelor's, then they maybe study something different for their master's, or they study something similar. I know a lot of people who have just studied and studied and studied. They don't have any real experience. So their first job, they feel like it's a very difficult situation because they've only ever lived as students. They've never lived the life of somebody who works. So yeah, it's a shock for them. I think getting as much experience as possible is actually really beneficial. You have the knowledge on one side, and you also have the experience on the other side. So they both help a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And
Ali, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, just regarding the last class I have with you,
Yeah.
uh, I heard uh, s- you said things like in Arabic and different delicates like in Egyptian
The Egyptian
delicates.
dialect. Yeah, yeah, the Egyptian dialect. Yeah.
ازيك يا باشا.
ازيك يا باشا؟ كله تمام، كله تمام، كله كويس يا باشا.
Yeah, you are fluent in this delicate and just I wonder how you have got uh, uh,
The, this Masri, right? The Masri, المصري أم الدنيا يا باشا. المصري أم الدنيا, right? Uh, I went to school with a lot of Egyptians, and all of the shuyukh at my masjid were all Egyptians.
you are Muslim.
Uh, yeah, yeah.
Right.
So every single person, all the shuyukh
Uh-huh.
were Egyptian. Yani everyone. So they would start they would start the khutbah, like, and they would begin the conversations, and everything they would say would be in the Egyptian accent. So that's how I learned. I just by listening to them, I was forced to learn Masri. I because I mean they didn't have very good English, unfortunately, because miskin,
Yeah.
they're old people, right?
Yeah.
They were trying their best, and a lot of us, the younger generation, it's funny because we were actually very rude. We listened to them, no problems, but then after they left, we would make fun of their accent,
Ah.
because and it's rude. It's rude, but we did it, and we had a lot of fun. Even among my friends, they say, Farhan, your accent when it comes to Masri, it's the best. So yeah, just for fun. Yeah,
Yeah, and
no, no,
imagine that they mix between the English and their the
all the
Arabic, like
time, all the time, all the
yeah,
time.
like
You know,
the word يعني.
Yeah, if they forget a word, they're in front of everybody. يعني I want to say مثلا يعني and you're there, you're sitting in the khutbah, and you're like, come on guys, please, like, finish. We have class, we have to go somewhere. And but good people, good people.
I can
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah, they try their best, they try their best. And now the new generation, my friends and I, a lot of us, we are, we have to be the next generation, So when it comes to learning the knowledge and sharing the knowledge of our culture and all of it, all the things that we have to do a good job, because these older people, they're not going to be here forever. So we make fun of them now, but we need to be serious about learning this information,
Yeah.
So it's important. But yeah, yeah. So great, Ali. Let's get started. Actually, we see that there's nobody else. Actually, only two other viewers. So hello, two viewers. We're gonna get started, Ali. So today our class is actually going to focus on negation, right? So when we say negation in English, we are saying that we are talking about saying no. We are talking about saying, you know, denying something. Negating something is to deny something, to say no to something. And the two ways that we negate in English, right? When I say this word negate, two ways that we negate in English are when we say am not versus did not, right? So the verb do and the verb to be, right? I am, you are, he is, whatever. I do, you do, he does, she does, whatever. In the past tense, we can say am not, did not, right? So we have many examples of this actually. And when we look at the examples, I'm going to focus on getting an understanding of when we use these in English and when they are kind of, you know, when they are uh, applicable, when we use them in certain scenarios and when we don't. So in some situations, for example, right, in some situations we can say very simple things, I am happy, I am not happy, right? I am sad, I'm not sad. I am angry, I'm not angry, right? The verb to be in general, I am, he is, she is, we are, right? You can use it so many different ways, right? Uh, my son is watching TV. My daughter is not watching TV. Very similar. It's that we are using the word not with the verb in order to say that we are negating it, that we are denying it, right? Or we are saying that it's not happening, right? So, and we can also make specific kind of contractions, right? If somebody says he is not from Australia, let's say, right? He is not from Australia. we can take the is not and we can make it smaller. We can say he isn't from Australia, right? So we have these contractions in English, two important contractions. We have is not becomes isn't, and are not becomes aren't, right? So we are not from Saudi Arabia. We aren't from Saudi Arabia, right? And in a very similar idea, right, we have does not, which becomes doesn't, and did not, which becomes didn't, right? So these are the four kind of main contractions that we use a lot in English when we are talking about negation, when we're talking about this idea of saying something is not the case. You have something that is, and you have something that is not, right? So that's the entire idea of negation. Uh, so any questions about just that part, Ali?
No,
Is
they
it?
are pretty obvious.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy lesson so far, you know. So I was going to ask you, Ali, if you could give me an example. Just, tell me about yourself. We shared a little bit about ourselves, and during this class. But also, if you could tell me something about yourself. For example, I can say, I do not like to um, watch. I do not like to watch sci-fi
Yeah,
movies, right? But I do like to watch action movies, right? My parents are from, Bangladesh. I am living in California, right? I can say all of these different things using I am, he is, whatever, she is, whatever. So let's talk about yourself. Tell me anything you want about yourself using some of these verbs.
all right. Uh, although the Australia is considered a happy country, but I do not feel happy. Uh, I usually um, I usually try to sleep early, but sometimes I cannot uh, do so. Um, um, I'm, I'm I'm trying my hard to learn English, but I seem not to be able to do so. Uh,
I think you're doing so. I actually would disagree. I think you are doing very well. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
That's encouraging for me.
yeah, absolutely. What?
And yeah, actually, uh, although I am don't agree with the don't agree with the I'm trying to make something about smoking because I'm smoker. Uh,
You can say,
although
although I don't agree with smoking. You can say that if you want.
yeah,
Yeah.
don't agree with smoking, but
hmm
not in my case. I smoke.
Yeah. Although I don't agree with smoking, I do smoke, right?
I,
Or I smoke. You can say I do smoke to give a little bit more emphasis, right? Although I don't agree with smoking, I do smoke,
yeah.
right? So
Although
that's one
I
way to
don't
talk
agree
about it.
with smoking, I do smoke.
Yeah, yeah, because it adds emphasis. You're saying I
It
don't agree with
sounds
something, but I still do it. Yeah, yeah.
so.
So that's good, Ali. That's good. Those are some great examples, right? You gave me some great examples, and we're using negation in this entire process, right? So it's really good. It's really good because negation as an idea, it's a very basic idea, right? When we talk about it in English, it's not something that's meant to be complicated. Really, you take a verb and you add not in front of that verb, I am, or you add it after, I'm sorry. So I am not, I did not, I could not, I do not, he does not, right? Those are really the ideas. And then you can always use the contractions. You can make them smaller, right? So I don't, even though I don't agree with smoking, I do smoke, right? So that's another way that you can make contractions. And many times we can use these same verbs in the past tense, right? So the past tense of am, what's the past tense of am? If I say I am here, but I blank yesterday, right? I am here, but I blank there yesterday.
I wasn't. Yes, I
Yeah,
wasn't. Yeah, I weren't there.
Yeah, well, it would actually be I wasn't there, right? I wasn't there, and it would
But
for
can I use I weren't, I was?
you would use I was, right? Because weren't is for they and for we and those kinds of subjects, right? You can say we weren't there, they weren't
Mhm.
there, but he was there, she was there, I was there, right?
All right.
You would also say you were there. So there are some differences, right? So for I and he and she, we use was, right? So for example, I was there, he was there, she was there, it was there. It also works, right? For they, I'm sorry, for you, we, and they, we use were, right? You were there, we were there, they were there,
All right.
right? Yeah.
But I thought it is possible to use were with I.
Oh, no, no, it's actually not. If you can use where with I, if you are talking about a condition, for example, if I were there.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
if I were in USA, I would be more comfortable.
yeah, yeah. So in that example, we would use were, but that's a special case that we're looking at when we see specific examples of a conditional statement. I don't know if that's, I think that's the first conditional statement where we use if I were there, I would help you with your problem or whatever, something like that, right? So we
Mhm.
do see it in that example, but generally when it's the present tense versus the past tense, we for am, the past tense would be was. For are, the past tense would be were, right? They are here, they were there, or they were not there, right? So different situations like that, and you know, generally that really is the idea of the lesson. It's not terribly confusing. We have the contractions. We have am. We have does. We have am and do, or are and does in the present. And in the past, it becomes was and did. Depending on the subject.
All
So
right.
yeah, awesome. Any questions on that, Ali, before we move on?
No,
Okay,
it's
fantastic.
all
So
clear.
it makes sense.
All clear. Yeah, makes sense.
All clear. Great. Fantastic. So actually, Ali, we have a good amount of time. We have about 20 minutes, or 28 minutes actually, to review the lecture for today, or I guess the article. And this is an intermediate class. I think you're above intermediate, right? So how long have you been studying on Colingo, Ali?
Uh, Actually, I used to be a user for Klingo when it was free for free.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But yesterday I registered as uh, uh, yesterday I paid for the class, and
Uh-huh.
I started since yesterday. I have just I have just been a user.
That's awesome. So now we are doing a lot of changes, right? Before, when it was a free service, I wasn't a teacher. I was not with Colingo. I started with Colingo about 4 months ago. So
Mhm.
when it was a free, I had no idea how it worked. But now we are doing a lot of different things, and we have levels for each of these classes, right? So we have beginner, we have intermediate, we have high intermediate, we have high beginner, low advanced, or I think advanced and high intermediate are the two highest classes that we have. This is an intermediate class. I think you can easily do a high intermediate class. So if you see classes that are being offered by other teachers or me or the other teachers, feel free, join the higher level classes, the high intermediate and those kinds of classes, because I think you will really benefit from those advanced questions, the advanced learning. I think is going to be really, really good for you, because I think this stuff is easy for you. Yani, I mean, it's not difficult.
Because I couldn't rank my ability in English.
Yeah.
Uh, but if there is any sort of placement or something, so I can determine which level I am in.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
just based on this conversation that we are having right now, as well as the conversation we had this morning, I think you're at the advanced level or the high intermediate level at least.
I think you are giving me much than I deserve. Maybe.
I don't think so. I honestly feel like, because I know a lot of students who struggle with intermediate, right? You didn't have any problems making sentences. You're not having any problems understanding me. or understanding the grammar, right? And the understanding is if you're an advanced student, the focus is not so much on the grammar, the focus is on the vocabulary, on the
Okay.
article that we're going to read, right? And I think you fit that that description because the grammar does not seem to be difficult for you. So
Yeah. As
I
as
think,
as
yeah.
as you know, English is divided to four parts. Uh, four parts like they are the skills in terms of skills. I mean,
Uh-huh.
listening, writing, reading, and speaking.
Uh-huh.
So I am pretty good in listening. I can listen very well, even to hard conversations or hard discussions that have a high level. But I am struggling with the speaking. So I prefer, in terms of speaking, I prefer to join intermediate classes or so.
Yeah. Definitely. I think that's great. High intermediate, you're going to have a lot more opportunities to talk, because with the intermediate and the beginner classes, the focus is more on using the grammar, really. And with the high intermediate and the advanced classes, the focus is on the conversation.
All
So
right,
I think you'll do well, man. I honestly think you'll do well. It's welcome back to Colingo. And if I can help you with anything, let me know. Okay?
all right.
All right. So here's the article then, Ali, and we will take a look at this article. I'm going to screen share it as well so we can take a look at it together.
Okay.
If you have any questions about any of the vocabulary, right, let me know. I will stop and I can explain the words. Don't worry about, saying stop. Just stop me anytime you have a question. And today we are looking at snoring mothers, right? So it's an interesting health article because I don't think there was ever a comprehensive study, right? A comprehensive study that looked at a lot of pregnant, well, women who happen to snore when they are pregnant, right? And does snoring have a reaction or an effect on the child, right? On the child, and it's a very interesting article. It has all these scientific um, reasons behind it. So we'll take a look at this here.
Uh,
Um, yeah, go ahead,
just
Ali.
I would like to comment on that.
Sure.
Uh, the interesting thing for me when I joined this class because of the title, Snoring Moms.
Uh-huh.
And I have just before I got my son to the childcare, uh, I was watching the TV with my son, to the cartoons and stuff for kids.
Hmm.
And some cartoons comes with the captions CC.
Yeah, the CC, yeah, the closed
And
captions. Uh-huh.
yeah, there was two monkeys and they were asleep. And with the captions, it was written that both snores, both snore.
Uh-huh.
So this terminology or this word snore is new to me. So, but I can guess its meaning.
Yeah, snore is when you are making noises from your nose as when
Yeah,
you're sleeping.
yeah,
Yeah,
I can imagine now its meaning.
fantastic. So
And so it is coincidence. Just I saw this. I have just seen this word before 1 hour, and now this class. So
yeah,
that's yeah,
super super coincidence, right? Sometimes these things happen. Yeah, absolutely. You were meant to be in this class. This was in your destiny.
yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, yeah, awesome. We're going to read about a little bit more about this, right? And interestingly enough, actually, this study is coming from University of Michigan. So we were also talking about University of Michigan, and a second coincidence that it is talking about the University of Michigan. Great, great school, fantastic school, enormous amount of applications and study. So if you can see the article, let me know, Ali. I think you should be able to see it now. Um,
I,
I have two desktops open right now, so maybe I just want to make sure. Do you see the screen? It says snoring in pregnancy tied
no,
to.
no,
You
I
don't.
see something else.
You see an image maybe? Okay, let me see this here. Screen share. Okay, this is the first time I'm using two desktops. That's why. Let's see 1 second.
I think I see the screen of your desktop.
1 sec here. I need to fix this thing. Okay, now we should be able to. Let me know if this doesn't work. You can see the article
Right.
now, I think, right?
Now I can see it.
Now you can see. Okay, fantastic. So snoring in pregnancy, right, is tied to possible health concerns, right? And what are these health concerns that we see when it comes to snoring? So pregnant women who snore 3 or more nights a week, right, are more likely to have a cesarean section and smaller babies, right? So pregnant women who snore 3 or more nights a week, right, are more likely to have cesarean section and smaller babies. The findings suggest that treating snoring in pregnant women may help reduce health problems among newborns and the associated medical costs, according to the University of Michigan Health System researchers. They looked at 1,673 pregnant women, 35% of whom reported regular snoring. Compared to non-snorers, those who snored before and during pregnancy, also known as the chronic snorers, were two-thirds more likely to have a small baby and more than twice as likely to have an elective C-section, right? So I'm going to stop here, Ali, and I want to ask you, do you have any questions about these first 3 paragraphs here?
Yeah, the cesarean.
Yeah, so the cesarean section is when the mother does not deliver naturally. You know,
Operation.
they actually cut open the
Understand.
yeah, yeah.
Understand.
Fantastic. So it's very dangerous for the mom, right? Because natural birth is preferred because it doesn't require, all that surgery and other things like that. And the fact that the babies are smaller is also cause for concern, right? Babies they should have a normal weight, they should have a normal size, but women who snore actually have smaller babies. So the study, published in the November 1st issue of the journal Sleep, is believed to be the largest of its kind to link a mother's snoring to her baby's health, right? There has been great interest in the implications of snoring during pregnancy and how it affects maternal health, but there is little data on how it may impact the health of the baby. Lead author Louise O'Brien, an associate professor at University of Michigan's Sleep Disorders Center and an adjunct associate professor in the obstetrics and gynecology, said in a university news release, right? So there are some advanced words in this section, Ali. Do you have any questions about any of the words here?
Just one word, maternal.
Maternal, fantastic. That's a great question. Maternal means mother. Anything that has to do with maternal means mother, right?
Right.
So maternal health is the mother's health. So they're saying here that, people have investigated snoring, but they've only really focused on the mother. They've never
Mhm.
really focused on the child, right?
Right.
And this is the first study that we see that is focusing on the child as well. So we found that chronic snoring is associated with both smaller babies and C-sections, even after we accounted for other risk factors. This suggests that we have a window of opportunity to screen pregnant women for breathing problems during sleep that may put them at risk of poor delivery outcomes, she explained. Once again, a very scientific article, or a
Mhm.
very scientific paragraph. Any questions on that one?
Uh, Not so far.
Not so far. Fantastic. See, you're getting this, Ali. This is really good, right? This is advanced, college level English, so this is really good. Uh, a previous study led by O'Brien, right, found that women who begin snoring during pregnancy are at a high risk for high blood pressure and preeclampsia, a condition in which a pregnant woman experiences sharp rises in blood pressure along with protein in her urine and other symptoms, right? Snoring is a key sign of obstructive sleep apnea, which can be treated using continuous positive airway pressure, CPAP, right?
May I stop you here?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Obstructive.
Obstructive sleep apnea, fantastic. Something that obstructs you is something that blocks, is something that is obstructive is something that is blocking something, right? So
Uh-huh.
when we see, like for example, if you are driving on the road and there's a car in front of you and
Mhm.
he is blocking the road, that car is an obstruction, right?
Uh-huh.
So when we see what we see here, it's saying that snoring is a key sign of obstructive sleep apnea. And obstructive sleep apnea is when a person stops breathing when they sleep, right? Some people, they have a condition, maybe they snore, and their nose or inside their nose, it's difficult for them to breathe because they're snoring so much at night, right? And it causes problems because, I mean, can you imagine if somebody is sleeping, he doesn't even realize that, he's not breathing, right?
Okay.
It can be very dangerous. Yeah.
Obstructive related to obstacles.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Something that is an obstacle is obstructing you. Yep, fantastic, perfect, right? Millions of healthcare dollars, right, are spent on operative deliveries, taking care of babies who are admitted to the NICU, neonatal intensive care units, and treating secondary health problems that smaller babies are at risk for when grown, O'Brien said, right? What is this paragraph saying, Ali?
Yeah, yeah. This situation may affect the babies.
Mhm.
There is a transition from the mother cases to the and their health case and its impacts on the babies when they grow up.
Yeah, and there's also one other thing they're saying here, right? They're saying that many times in the United States, and this is a problem with the way American healthcare works, right? American healthcare focuses on finding the best solution once you have the problem, right?
Hmm.
So somebody has a problem, the doctors in this country are amazing at finding the solution once they have a problem that they can focus on. But this paragraph is saying that you can prevent the problems from the very beginning, right? And if you do that, once the baby is small, the baby is born and the baby is small, then the doctors in the United States are very good at taking care of the baby, taking care of the mother. But why not focus on making sure the baby isn't born small to begin with, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, that we can take steps as, concerned people, we can take steps to prevent this in the first place so that we don't have to worry about preventing, or we don't have to worry about small babies
Mhm.
once they're born, So this doctor continues to say this here. If we can identify risks during pregnancy that can be treated, such as obstructive sleep apnea, we can reduce the incidence of small babies, C-sections, and possibly NICU admission that not only improve long-term health benefits for newborns, but also help keep costs down, right? Every time somebody goes to the hospital, they are charged money, right?
Mhm.
And if we have these hospitals that are just full of these people that are, going in because of these preventable diseases, then they're wasting so much money, they're wasting so much time, right? I mean, they're taking up doctors' time, right? The doctors have to diagnose them and do preventative medicine, or they have to do medicine that is focused on fixing a problem that we could have prevented in the first place.
Yeah, that means that the issue can be mitigated from its early stages and
100%.
before
Hmm.
yeah be, yeah before getting harder to resolve.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, mia fil mia, right? Exactly. That's exactly what they're saying. So, you know, while the study found associations between snoring and pregnancy and an increased likelihood of C-section delivery in smaller babies, it did not establish a cause and effect relationship. So sometimes in these advanced articles, especially scientific articles, they like to mention at the end of the article that even though this information is now available to the public, right? I mean, I'm reading this, anybody can read this article. Scientists are very careful not to make definitive claims without a lot of evidence, right?
Mhm.
They don't want to say we are 100% positive that snoring mothers have smaller babies because there are so many exceptions to the rule, right? And different mothers can have different conditions, different babies. I mean, there could be so many other factors, right? Diet, sleep patterns, nutrition and diet are kind of the same, but you have so many other factors. They wanted to mention before the article was finished, the very last line, that they haven't established a cause and effect relationship, but a lot of what they are seeing in this study is allowing them to understand that maybe snoring has an impact on the size of babies and on the number of C-sections that they have.
Yeah, usually scientific reports is written in this way,
Hmm.
just to make it rational and not subjective.
Yeah.
Uh, there's some exceptions, as you say.
Exactly right. And there are cases when we see, for example, I mean, it's good for a scientific article to be unbiased, right? It should be an objective article because science is objective. You know, science should not be subjective. I believe this and you believe that because, I'm this and you're that. It's not science. But it's fascinating, right? I have never considered snoring to be a problem for the child, right? I mean, what's your reaction to this article? Did you ever hear about this, Ali, before, where maybe when you had your child, did the doctors speak about snoring with your wife, or did this ever
Actually,
come up?
actually, I have been through this. I have been through this situation.
Uh-huh.
I have enough experience with it because my wife, when she was pregnant with my son, she was she had the same case. She was snoring, but my baby seems fine. My son seems okay.
Yeah, mashallah, right? There's no problems. I mean, it's good, which is why I think this scientific study is I mean, it's giving us an idea, right? It's giving us scientists are always looking for the next thing, right? I mean, they're investigating, right? Which is great. It's good to investigate. But
And
sometimes, yeah,
they just attempt to raise the awareness of this issue.
exactly, right. And it's fascinating that they have done so using such a broad group. I mean, the University of Michigan, their research has been, focusing on 1,673 women, right? Pregnant women. That's a large group. They had to find a lot of different women, a lot of pregnant moms who were looking to get the study, and they did the study for several months, I'm sure, and they were able to figure this out, right? So, some questions for you, Ali, when it comes to the basic understanding of this article, which I think you have 100% understand. Uh, you know, is it something? Is it something that snoring is something that I think everybody knows. It's a little bit annoying, right? If somebody is snoring next to you on a bus, on a plane, whatever, if they're not related to you, then it's difficult to tell them, hey, stop. Snoring, can it be damaging to people in general? I mean, sometimes we focus on the health effects. This is a very specific event, great for moms and for pregnant women. But what is your view on snoring in general? Isn't it annoying? I think snoring is annoying.
Uh, depends on the snoring
Uh-huh.
sounds. Is
Yeah.
it really hard to cope with it, or just I can handle it?
Uh-huh.
Um, but if someone is not related to me, you mean?
Yeah. If someone's not related to you, let's say like you're on a bus, you're somewhere, we're traveling on a plane or something, and the guy next to you, it's late at
No,
night.
if I don't have to spend my whole life with him, I will not tell him with him anything. If
Uh-huh.
it is just night or 2 nights, I will try to handle the situation until it is
Exactly.
goes off.
Until it goes away. Yeah, but sometimes it's impossible. I know some people who they like for example, right now I'm living with my friends, right? But we are in separate rooms and we don't really it doesn't matter when we sleep, it doesn't nobody affects the other person. But sometimes when we go on trips maybe to another city, it's really expensive to have 5 hotel rooms for five young guys. So sometimes we pair up. So we have me and my friend we sleep in one room. I'm on the floor, whatever. And I've had experiences when snoring has kept me up for the most of the night. Okay, for most of the night, and it's very very annoying for me, right? And solutions, I mean, they sell these little patches, right? I think you maybe have seen them. They put on your nose, right?
Mhm.
When you go to sleep. Other people, one guy told me once, just wear earplugs. I said it's not natural. If I want to go to sleep, I'm not gonna want to have earplugs in my ears, right? Um, what are your? I mean, if you were ever in that situation where you just could not tolerate snoring, what would you do?
Uh, I I have read something about what to do in similar cases, and
Uh-huh.
uh, I have tried them and proven to be working. Just you can adjust the way they are sleeping. I mean, if you have someone snoring, you can adjust his head like to the normal position. I'm not sure how to say it. Maybe you can get that from me, but
No,
uh,
no, no. Maybe the angle that their head, maybe they're lying
yeah,
back like this.
yeah,
You should make them, if they're lying like this, you should make them like this or something.
yeah.
If their head is at a different angle,
I-
to fix the
Yeah,
angle.
if the head is angled forward, you can
Yeah,
just put it back so they can breathe effectively.
breathe more normally. Yeah, effectively, absolutely, absolutely. But I've also had this happen to me where you know, it's difficult to blame people they're snoring because when you snore, you don't know you're snoring, right? I mean, I could snore and I don't know because I never heard myself snore, you know? That's I think that's always the problem, right? With something like this, for husbands and wives, if one of the two people snores, then the other one knows all about it, right?
Yeah,
But the person doesn't know, the person himself or herself doesn't know, which I think is a problem.
last week uh, I claimed that to my wife. Sometimes you are snoring, and she didn't respond to me. But later on, she recorded me when I was asleep, and she showed me that you are snoring, and this is the evidence.
Yeah,
So
it's
I,
natural, right? I mean, I think we all do it. We all do it. But when other people are doing it, it's so hard to blame them, and it's also so hard to believe that we do it, you know. Um, yeah, we need evidence, right? So I think your wife did a good job, showed you the video or something, right?
yeah, no, she showed me the video. Showed you are doing the same. Why you are claiming that? Why you are?
Uh,
Yeah. So I have got nothing to say. Just I moved on.
yeah, you're caught red-handed, right? You're caught red-handed, so you can't do anything about it. But yeah, I mean, for people who really have a serious condition, like with obstructive sleep apnea, for example, right? These people need help. These people genuinely, for the safety of their children and even for their own safety. I mean, if they are having breathing problems at night when they're sleeping, it's not a good situation for them, right? It's not good for them. It's not good for their health. So, what do you think, Ali, is the best way to get people to understand about this? This article, one article, they didn't really do a lot of, I'm not sure how much, publicity this article is going to get, but what can we do maybe from a public health standpoint or from a public health perspective to make this information more available to people?
Um, I'm not sure about the uh, how this case is serious and if has a bad impact on people who have the same issue.
Hmm.
But I think it is better to educate people about how to can how to handle such a is it considered as a disease or as an indication to an impact to a bad health?
Yeah, I think it's probably treated more as a condition, right? Not really a disease. It's just a condition that, some people, when they snore very loudly. It could just be their natural snoring volume, right? And in that case, you might have to suggest that, they wear those patches. I've heard from, or I've seen on TV in the United States especially, that they sell these devices that they say completely eliminate snoring, right? They're 100% healthy. They open up the inside of your nose when you're sleeping. You put them on. It's like a little ring, like a little plastic ring that you wear on
Mm.
your nose. And once you wear that, naturally, just the tension that it places on your nose, it relieves the stress, and you don't make the noise when you snore when you wear those,
But
right? So yeah,
did you know that the snoring is an indication to the heart attack? It is more serious than the
really,
yeah.
yeah. I had no idea, right? Many different things, right? So when we see abnormalities in our daily behavior, maybe medical behavior or any kind of physical behavior, right? Snoring, fast heartbeat, they're mentioning here high blood pressure, right? High blood pressure, snoring has been linked to high blood pressure. And high blood pressure is very serious, especially for pregnant women. And it's a difficult thing, it's a difficult thing for people to, I guess, understand unless there is some stronger education. Maybe they should have classes for pregnant women when they get pregnant. They have those how to become a mom classes, right? And they should maybe introduce, this topic in those classes, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Agree
Well,
with you.
awesome, awesome, Ali. It was a great class, man. I really enjoyed it. I wanted
Thank
to
you.
know, did you have any other questions before we? I have another class that's starting right now, actually.
All right, all right.
Yeah,
And
but
nice, really nice to have your class.
fantastic. I'm glad you like it. And are you going to join the next one, or are you going to be heading out?
Yeah, I will see if I can do it or not.
Already, sounds good, Ali. Well, it's good to see you again. If you have any questions, as always, this class or any other class, feel free to let me know. I'm on Facebook and stuff like that, so you can find me.
Yeah, if can get your Facebook account, that would be.
Yeah,
I will
it's let me send you the link actually right now real quick. Let's see,
maybe
where is
later
it?
on.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe later on.
absolutely.
Because we have better
Sh
class.
Sure, 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 absolutely. Just give me 1 second. I need to find where this is. I have like multiple accounts now, so I need to give you the one for teaching especially is going to be good for us. So let's see. It should be this. Oh wow, and I can't spell my name. Um, if you just find my name, it's actually just my name as it is spelled here. The photo is the same, so just you
All
can
right,
find me very easily. Yeah, you can. There's no other Farhan Qasim in the entire, I think, Facebook.
all
So
right.
I think I'll be able to find me there. But yeah, awesome, Ali. Thank you so much for a great class.
Looking forward to seeing you again.
Likewise, absolutely. Take care. Masalam.
Assalam.
Hey, how's it going, Ali?
Hi, hi.
Good, good, good. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Let's
Uh,
learn.
yeah, go ahead. I've heard, for example, that it's a huge country. There are not that many people, so it's a small population,
Yeah,
and you
just
know,
maybe if you know Saudi Arabia, they maybe the same population as Saudi Arabia
yeah,
compared to
15 million, something like that. I heard 15 to 20 million.
yeah compared to the huge size of the continent of Australia.
Yeah, yeah, huge size, lots of resources, lots of money.
Yeah,
So it's an interesting. It's a
wealth country and the economy of Australia considered as conservative. Uh, so uh, no many uh, financial loss or financial damage here as
yeah,
compared to USA. People here,
absolutely.
from my observation, people here like they don't have many problems,
Uh-huh.
financial issues. Seems like they enjoying their life.
Yeah, no, that's good. I
No,
like
no,
the idea.
no many homeless. You didn't see homeless here. You didn't see people like needing money. They all seem to be fine.
Yeah, good. A lot of programs for people so that social programs, social welfare is important in Australia. And also, I heard doctors and dentists, for example, in Australia make a lot of money
Mm.
because small population. I heard that there is government control over, for example, how many doctors each year, how many dentists each year. So as a result, they can control
Yeah,
the level of people that are in a job. Yeah.
yeah, people who are qualified for the job, the availability is good, but as you have just mentioned, the government take control over this. They concern the quality, you know. So they don't assign the job to just anyone, just who are
hmm
highly qualified.
Just those are highly qualified. Yeah. You have that. I mean, it's an immigrant country, so you have so many people from different places, and it's such a wealthy country relative to the population that they attract a lot of immigrants, people from Lebanon, people from many other parts of the world have. I heard in particular, I heard Lebanon.
Yeah,
There are a lot of
especially
Lebanese.
yeah, Chinese people. They plenty of Chinese people here,
hmm
Indian and Lebanese, as you mentioned. But Lebanese, they have a strong impact on the economy. They are focusing on the just uh, I mean not sure how to say that, but uh, they are the dominant part in the economy.
hmm Yeah, Lebanese people here too in the United States, they have done a lot of. They have a lot of businesses. They have a lot of businesses. They have a lot of restaurants. A lot of kind of. They are good. They have a lot of active people in markets and business and kind of the financial sector. In the United States, for example, the most Arab city in the United States is a city called Dearborn, Michigan. I used to live in Michigan, and so I lived very close to Dearborn. So Dearborn is the most Arab place outside of the Arab world, actually. Many people, Lebanon, Iraq,
And,
Palestine, Saudi
and
Arabia.
are they there as a citizen or just immigrants?
Well, yeah, they're all citizens now. They have been coming to the U.S. since 1970, 1960, late 1960s, early 1970s. So their children are completely, 100% Americanized. They have a huge, masajid, and I mean, the biggest masjid in the entire country is in Dearborn, Michigan.
Mhm.
So a huge population, and
You look like lonely.
well, actually, no. I'm just there's a little bit less light here in my room today compared to the other days. Probably gonna have to go out tomorrow and get some lights or something like that. But I was just reading some newspapers and doing some stuff like that. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Yourself?
Nice. Yeah, I'm doing well, thanks. Good to see you again. How was your day? I mean, or how was your today? It's just morning right now, right? In
And
Australia?
now it is uh, 35 past 1 p.m.
1:35 p.m. Uh-huh. So, how did you how did you pass your morning?
Sleeping. I was asleep until 12:35.
Uh-huh.
12:30. I have got my son to the child care center and
Hmm.
came back home.
Oh, fantastic. So, 1 hour, just 1 hour ago, you woke up, you got some work done, and now you're ready for class.
Yeah.
Great, great, awesome. We're probably just going to wait another maybe 4 or so minutes, Ali. So, how long have you lived in Australia?
I have been here for nearly 1 year. A year.
Nearly 1 year, nearly a year. That's awesome. And are you a student? Do you like the experience?
Actually, I am accompanying my wife. My wife is a student here in
Uh-huh.
Australia. So I am doing nothing, just staying at home.
That's good though. I
And
mean, I'm sure you're taking care of your son. I'm sure you're being a good
yeah,
dad. Yeah.
yeah, but it is a boring thing, believe me.
Yeah, I guess if he goes to the daycare, then most of the day I mean, you're doing good things. You're studying uh, English. You're studying. I'm sure you're doing some other things. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, I've never visited Australia. I've just heard different things about the country. Lots
What is
of
stereotypes about Australia?